everyone, Relica here. So somebody dropped a comment on one of my videos that a certain trailer is out. Apparently they're making a Life is Strange Part 2, and it's kind of weird because I just recently finished playing Part 1 like a month or two ago. Making sure a Mad Cat doesn't destroy my camera equipment. Anyway, that's really interesting, so I wanted to go ahead and take a look at the new trailer. Let's see what they've got. How have they decided to continue the story here? I just gotta make sure that my recording equipment's set up. If I seem a little loopy, it's because it's late and I am tired. But damn it, we are going to watch this trailer. Starting now. There we go. Oh, I got no sound.
Follow me home, pretend you found somebody to mend you. I feel numb.
It's Chloe. Her hair's not blue.
In this kingdom, I feel numb. I feel numb in this kingdom.
I really like the music. Of course, the first game had a good soundtrack too. Oh, they're gonna show that? Frank!
Rachel?
Hey! Before the storm, huh? That looks really fun! Let's stop whatever went through here. Let's stop that video. Oh my gosh, so okay. I wondered if they were ever going to make a sequel or a follow-up. I really enjoyed playing the first game. I wonder if any of my theories about the first game will be proven in the second game. I mean, it honestly looks like this one's going to center around Chloe, which I have no problem with. Chloe was one of my favorite characters in the first game. It's going to be kind of weird because it's the first game, a lot of the gameplay, it was a choice-based game, but a lot of your choices were based on your ability to tamper with time, and that was Max's ability. And we don't have Max in this game, so I'm kind of wondering how this one's going to work. I see we have Rachel, which I was not expecting. I don't know if that kind of kills my Rachel and Max are the same person theory. I guess we'll find out if that's right or wrong. The first one really had like this butterfly motif going on, and this time we've got what looks like a crow. So I don't know what that means. I mean, basically for my first one, I had a couple of ideas for what would be going on. Like, for example, was it really a tragedy, Life is Strange, or was it a story about helping souls pass on? Because, I mean, we have a blue butterfly, which I know that the butterfly often can symbolize a soul or a departed soul. And I just thought it was really odd that at the beginning of the first game, you have a butterfly show up in the bathroom before Chloe gets shot by Nathan, and then you have a butterfly landing on her coffin at the beginning of the game. And then the reason why I thought Rachel might be Max was because of the deer that kept showing up in the game. And Max has a lot of deer-themed clothing, like she has the necklace she wears around her neck at the funeral is a deer, and a lot of her t-shirts have deer on them. And the first game talked a lot about totems, and they mentioned kind of briefly the land, I think, belonging to some Indians. And Samuel also mentions that the doe is Max's spirit animal. And in the junkyard where they find Rachel's body, if you pay attention, I think the first time you see the doe, it appears right around where Rachel's body was. So that's why I always thought that Max and Rachel were connected or might be the same person. And because I was curious and nerdy, I decided to do some extra research of my own, which was look up totems and see what they actually mean. The deer totem was about being sensitive and intuitive, determined but gentle in their approach, vigilance, ability to change directions quickly, being in touch with their inner child, and innocence. I guess if you look at the deer as being a versatile sort of totem, then I guess the ability to change time makes sense with Max. Sensitive and intuitive can go back to the game's whole theme of making choices and how the choices you make in the game impact everything. Victoria also doesn't seem to like Max, and she also really did not seem to care for Rachel Amber too much either, so that's another thing that made me wonder if Rachel and Max were somehow connected. The other thing that really stood out to me was when Max is kind of like in her nightmare mode, which I like to call it, which is where she goes back in time, supposedly, or she passes out, rather, and she reappears in this timeline where things are seriously warped. Seriously warped and screwed up. You've got birds throwing themselves at the windows and killing themselves. You're going down different corridors to the dorm, and at different intervals she's different people, and in one of them she's Rachel Amber. But what really confuses me and doesn't really fit in well with that theory is that at some point, while she's going through this dream world nightmare mode of hers, she's also Victoria for a little while. And I'm like, well, what's the connection with Victoria here? I don't get it. I also wondered if Chloe's death wasn't a thing that had already happened. And if Max wasn't actually sent there to help Chloe accept her own fate. Which might seem like a really strange theory, I don't know, but if Max is Rachel Amber and Rachel Amber was her best friend, that would make sense. What if she was I was always thinking that maybe, we go through the whole story here of Life is Strange in the first part, and we see Chloe kind of consumed and obsessed with this need to find out what happened to Rachel, which makes sense, it was her best friend. And her soul can't rest because she can't find out what happened to Rachel. And like I said, people's souls are said to take the form of a butterfly when they travel through another world, apparently, according to mythology. And maybe Max is Rachel returned to help Chloe pass on. Even in Christianity, it's seen as a sign of resurrection, so I just wondered. I wonder if she wasn't dead the whole game, and the storm wasn't her frustration and rage at everything. Her frustration of Rachel up and disappearing on her. Learning maybe she actually did learn the truth about Frank, and Max just helped her revisit it so that she wouldn't have to revisit it and go through it alone. So her frustration at that, her obvious problems with her stepfather, and her anger about her real dad dying and seemingly abandoning her. Chloe's got a lot of rage and a lot of unresolved shit, and I wondered if the storm wasn't really her reality breaking down, her denial of her own death breaking down, because she never resolved these things and these issues when she was alive, so she couldn't pass on. And if accepting it before the storm actually hit wasn't really her last chance at crossing over. And Max also smiles in the ending where you sacrifice Chloe. As she smiles over her coffin, and I thought that was really, really strange, because Max smiles, and it's almost like she knows something that we don't know. And it's like, okay, so is this Max smiling because she's thinking, mission accomplished, I helped Chloe to accept this, now she's finally at rest, she's in a better place? I don't know. My theory may be very, very far-fetched, and I'm certainly not the first person to assume or come up with the idea that Rachel might be Max. I watched a lot of other videos on that too, just to kind of compare notes and compare my own theory to it, and it was really interesting. But we're going to get to see Rachel in this game, so I guess that'll answer a lot of questions. I like the reappearance of Frank, which is really strange because I really hated his guts when I first met him in the game, and then later on he grew on me. And I don't know, I guess I just came to accept him as sort of one of those characters that was a lot more human than I thought he was, and the same kind of goes for Chloe's stepdad. He wasn't perfect, but it's like towards the end of the game he was trying to make things right, trying to come to terms with some of his own demons, and Frank kind of had to do the same, but it was really sad because in Frank's case, he had to accept that his dealing with drugs is probably what got the girl he loved killed. But I just, another thing that stood out to me with Frank is just the freaking scene with the beans will always be one of my favorite parts of the first game, because it was just so freaking hilarious, because Frank loses his shit so easily. And, Max throws the beans on the floor, and I just remember that person, this poor voice actor must get bombarded, I'm sure, with requests to reenact this scene. What are you doing? Those are my beans! I was eating those beans! And I can't really do the scene justice just through review. You'd have to go play the game or go look up the scene and see this. I was just killing myself laughing at Frank because the scene was just so over the top, and the voice actor did such an awesome job. I really like the guy who voices Frank. But anyway, this is a game that I'll definitely be getting and probably playing eventually in the near future. Definitely. Definitely. Especially if it becomes available on Steam. If it becomes available on Steam, I will definitely get it, because I can definitely record it for y'all and make playthroughs. Right now, I don't have like an Elgato cord or anything like that, so I can't really, unfortunately, do anything on console. I have to kind of stick to my computer, which sucks, but it's just right now I don't have the ability to get those things right now. But if this, like I said, I hope this becomes available on Steam, because if it does, I can definitely play it. Really like the first game. And I'm glad that I didn't listen to the people who told me not to play it. But anyway, this was one of the first game trailer reactions that I've done, which reminds me, I haven't seen the new trailer for Kingdom Hearts either. I really seriously need to go react to that one, because that's also another series that I'm very invested in. I actually don't know whether to combine this one with that one or not, but I guess I'll see. I'll see how it turns out. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, all that good bullshit. I'm gonna move on to the next video. I have a few this week. So, see you.